Welcome, Ayubowan. Science is going to be our topic for today's lesson. Ada අපි බලන්න යන්නේ science විද්‍යාව කියන මාතෘකාව ගැන, right? Practice question 1. Watch the video once and play it without the soundtrack, then demonstrate it, right? So what you have to do is watch it without the soundtrack and then demonstrate it. So let's have a look at it for a few seconds. So you've got plain white paper, you have water, and then you have turmeric, okay, and this goes on. So have a look at it, dissolve the turmeric, right? And have a look at it at home and demonstrate it. Do it on your own at home, right? Podi activity එකක් stimulate කරන්න. ගෙදරදී තනියම කරලා බලන්න. I'm not going to do it here obviously, right? Because I want you to kind of stimulate yourself before the topic, right? So you have the link here and you'll also have the link below the video, right? So you can click and watch it. Right, so let's move on into the next one. Science in me, right? Explain the pictures below. So here you have the water cycle, right? Where you have the water evaporating, condensation, precipitation, transportation, right? You have the plant's uptake, right? Sublimation, so evaporation and the surface flow, right? So here you have the water cycle. වතුර අපිට හැදෙනේ චක්‍රය තියෙනවා, ජල චක්‍රය. ඉතින් ඒක තමයි ඕගොල්ලෝ explain කරන්න ඕනේ, right? So I thought I'll just, give you a rough idea. Very important if you're going to talk about water sometimes, or you get a question, writing වලටත් important වෙනවා, right? Academic writing task 1 කරන කට්ටියට writing වලටත් help වෙනවා, so you could also refer the writing lesson, right? So did you ever want to know where the water in your cup came from? The water in the earth is always being recycled, okay? So water that you just drank could have been a dinosaur's wee. Ooh, okay? The first stage is evaporation, right? Evaporation is where water heats up and turns into gas. Because the sun shines on the sea, the water heats up and then turns into vapor. වාෂ්ප බවට පත් වෙනවා. This is then carried into the sky. අහසට යනවා. Next, condensation. This is when the water vapor cools down in the sky. Thing අහසේ තියෙන එක cool down වෙනවා. Where it is cooler and turns back into water droplets. ඊට පස්සේ වතුර බවට ආයි පත් වෙලා බින්දු බින්දු හැටියට එනවා. Water droplets turn into clouds and are carried across the sky by air currents. ඉතින් water droplets ඊට පස්සේ වලාකුළු බවට පත් වෙලා හිමින් අහස පුරාවට අරගෙන යනවා ඔය air currents දිගේ. After this, the clouds join together and get bigger and heavier until they can't hold any more water. ඉතින් වලාකුළු එකට merge ලොකු වෙලා තව දුරටත් වතුර දරාගත නොහැකි මට්ටමට එනවා. Consequently, precipitation happens. Precipitation is all forms of rain including snow and hail. ඉතින් precipitation කියන්නේ මොන හරි වැස්සක් එනවා වතුර වෙන්න පුළුවන්, snow වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? හිම කැට වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Rain falls on lakes and rivers. ඉතින් වතුර වැටෙනවා lakes වලටයි rivers වලටයි. The lakes and rivers eventually flow back to the sea. As a result, the water cycle starts off again, right? So this was written by Max B and Josh, right? So this keeps on going over and over again, right? So extracted from Max B and Josh. So just I wanted to give you some definitions that you might come across in this cycle. Condensation, right? Deposition, evaporation, percolation, precipitation, sublimation, transpiration. Okay? So තේරුම තියෙනවා මෙතන. I don't want to read it through, right? I would want you to refer to the meaning in English, okay? Because I wouldn't be very good in explaining this in Sinhala, right? I know some words, right? But then you should tell the proper scientific words, right? ඒ හින්දා meaning එක මම හැමතිස්සෙම කියනවා වගේ සිංහලෙන් නෙවෙයි අපි බලන්න ඕනේ meaning එක වචනේ තේරුම ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් ඉගෙන ගන්න බලන්න ඕනේ. Right? So condensation කියන්නේ the transformation of water vapor into liquid water droplets, right? ඉතින් වාෂ්ප හැටියට තියෙන ඒවා ද්‍රව බවට පත් වෙන්නේ water droplets බවට පත් වෙන එක තමයි condensation කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? So evaporation කියන්නේ වාෂ්ප වීම, right? So you have the words being described. I would like you to read it and understand it. Okay, so it's very clear. වචනෙට definition එක plain English වලින් දීලා තියෙනවා. So read it and jot down the meanings so that if you want to talk about something, you have the necessary vocabulary and you know the process to explain. හදිසියේ කවුරුහරි පෙන්නලා ඇහුවත් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට you know how to explain through words, right? Next one, explain the picture below. So it's called the greenhouse effect. So you have the natural greenhouse effect and you have the human enhanced greenhouse effect, okay? So where you have the sun, solar radiation, right? And then obviously more heat escapes into space. You also have the sun with the solar radiation, but then we've got the carbon dioxide, then to war, nitrogen oxide, right? And less heat escapes into space. So you have the natural greenhouse effect, the human enhanced greenhouse effect here, right? So you could explain it, right? I thought I'll just explain it a bit. Sunlight travels to Earth. Some of it is reflected and bounces back into space. The rest is absorbed by the oceans and land. So සමහරක් ඒවා bounce back වෙනවා, සමහරක් ඒවා උරා ගන්නවා. Some of this heat is trapped by greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Human activities such as burning fossil fuels mean we are putting more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. ඉතින් අපි තව fossil fuels burn කරන්න වැඩිපුර මොකද අපි කියන්නේ greenhouse gases වාතයට මුදා හරිනවා. Those added greenhouse gases mean the heat cannot escape into space easily. More of the heat gets trapped because there are more and more greenhouse gases. This causes the Earth's temperature to rise, which is the cause of the changing climate. So අපිට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ඒක මම හිතන්නේ ඉස්සරට වඩා දැන් රස්නේ වැඩි. So the reason is that, okay, because we as humans take part in the climate change, right? Okay, so just a quick understanding of the greenhouse effect. Practice question 3. Science in me. මාතුර තියෙන විද්‍යාව. This was a very prominent practice question, right? And a lot of children struggle. දැන් මම මේක කරාමත් මම ගොඩාක් වෙලාට දැකලා තියෙනවා මම ඒකමයි මේ topic එක දැම්මේ. Part 1 එකට science දාපු ගමන් ගන්නවා. And I asked them why. අනේ මිස් මුකුත් කියා ගන්න මතක් වෙන්නේ නැහනේ. So prep yourself, right? මේකට පුතා ලෑස්ති වෙන්න ඕනේ විභාගෙට. You have to make sure you have a good understanding on different topics. වාක්‍ය දෙක තුනක් හරි කියන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ task 1 එකට ආවොත්, right? So basically task 1 කියන්නේ speaking part 1 එකට ආවොත් you should be able to give some answers, right? Do you like science? Did you like science classes when you were young? I like science because I think science is what keeps us going as human beings. And when I was young, I did enjoy science classes. I actually had a few brilliant science teachers. And then for my A-levels, I did bioscience. So I had a really good chemistry, biology, and physics teacher as well, right? So some of those teachers actually still work, and some of those teachers have worked on the DP platform as well, right? So I did enjoy science quite a lot, okay? When did you start learning science? So actually, I started learning science when I was a child, from about the age of probably 8, right? What science have you studied? So I studied science like, about plants, animals till my O-levels. And then I had a look at biology, physics, chemistry. Which science subject is interesting? I actually like chemistry, right? Because I'd like to learn about organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry. What do you find most interesting about science? Have you done anything interesting using science? Well, I really haven't done anything using science, but I find science interesting because it's useful for all of us. And what do you find most interesting about science is the life of animals and plants. Has the science that you have studied helped you? Why not? Well, I don't think it has helped me a lot because I really didn't specialize in science after my A-levels. But yes, I did get a good understanding about compounds and, the lives of animals and plants like Pogonatum, Nephrolipis. So we had, different study areas about algae, right? So yes, I did learn quite a lot of things. How does it influence people's lives? I think it's important for people to study science because science is our environment. So it's important for us to learn about our environment. How does it influence people's lives? Is that when people learn about science, they start to enjoy and love nature. The more they love nature, the less they harm nature. The less they harm nature, the better it is for them in terms of their lives because we don't get involved in climate change. We try to eat fresh fruit and veggie. We don't kill animals, and the more that we grow plants, the better fresh air that we get. So I think in the long run, it's quite useful. Does education in Sri Lanka do enough to support scientific development? I think it does, but we don't have a lot of funds in Sri Lanka, but I definitely think it does a lot of scientific development. How could government support scientific development? I think what the Sri Lankan government should do is actually acknowledge the scientists that we have in Sri Lanka. A lot of people who study science go abroad, and I know a lot of foreign universities take them over at the snap of a finger, right? I know a lot of my friends who have done doctorates in certain specific science areas, microbiology, and I know a lot of other specific science areas. A lot of foreign universities have taken them. So, because the government of Sri Lanka does not recognize their service and does not have an importance towards these developments. So I definitely think that scientific development should be there in Sri Lanka. Should science subjects be compulsory or voluntary at school? I think it should be compulsory at school at an early age so that they learn. I think ළමයින්ගේ මූලික වයස කියන්නේ පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳන් එනකොට ඒක කම්පල්සරි වෙන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගත්තාම එතකොට තමයි ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඒක තේරෙන්න පටන් ගන්නෙ. What's the best invention of the past 100 years? I'm not sure what the best invention is, but maybe certain inventions from Marie Curie's would probably be the best inventions. All right, practice question 4, know your science. Help decide which facts helps or hurts the earth, right? So let's put the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Letting the water run while brushing teeth, it's definitely not helpful, harmful. Taking shorter showers, helpful. Planting a tree, helpful. Using herbicides to kill weeds, so that's like pesticides. So no, I don't think that's good. So harmful. Leaving plastic bottles on the side of the road, harmful. Eating less meat, I think, yeah, that's quite helpful. You're not killing too many animals. Using cloth shopping bags, helpful. Walking to the shops, helpful. Leaving lights on, unnecessary, harmful. Using disposable paper bags, helpful. Paper bags are helpful. Pouring chemicals down the drain, definitely harmful. Drinking filtered water could be helpful, right? Right, okay. So there we go. Helpful and harmful facts. ඉතින් අපිට හොඳ දේවල් අහිතකර දේවල් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් නරක දේවල් චුට්ටක් අපි අඩු කරගන්න ඕනේ. Right? Okay, so with that we come to the last one. The story of the 3 plastic bottles, right? Watch the life cycle of a plastic bottle and narrate it yourself. ඉතින් ඕගොල්ලෝ එක බලලා ඕගොල්ලෝ කතා කරන විදියට ඒක ලියන්න ඕනේ. You could take notes if you like. බලන ගමන් you can take notes, right? So the link for the video is here on the screen, and also you have it at the bottom of the video, so you could click and watch the video. So this is for you for homework, right? Watch it and then narrate it for yourself, right? Because now you're in your intermediate level, and working independently is something that you should start by now, right? So with that, I think we've come to the end of this lesson, right? We learned some nice phrases, okay? We had a look at the vocab that we used, and we kind of recycled that vocab. So with that, we come to the end of this lesson, science.